Guys, I'm back with a brand new video, and UFC Las Vegas Fight Night Edition is officially in the books. Yes, last night was Fight Night, and yes, it was in Las Vegas in the UFC Apex facility. When you think about Fight Night in Vegas, you think about pay-per-view, but no, this was a regular fight night just because of the COVID epidemic, and UFC is going to be in these smaller venues for a while until everything goes back to normal. But fight night last night was amazing. It was beautiful, and yesterday was an overall good day to be an MMA fan just because of the great content that the UFC was able to give us. When I mean content, I mean the fights, the finishes by submission, the finishes by knockouts, the performances that were going on by a multitude of the athletes yesterday was amazing, and it was great to see overall just because we all went a week without any type of mixed martial arts event going on in the world, also in the country of the good old US of A. But overall, yesterday was a good day of fights. It was a good night of fights. And I'm just going to go and say it. I didn't really think that Gilbert Burns was going to be able to beat Tyron Woodley. I thought Tyron Woodley was going to come out of here guns blazing, firing, trying to get this knockout that he was talking about just because he was trying to get back into title contention after losing his belt to Kamaru Usman. Also, Gilbert Burns being the training partner of Kamaru Usman, also being the training partner of Derek Brunson, and also Vicente Luque over at Hard Knocks 365, which is a factory of fighters right now down in Florida, definitely giving American Top Team a run for their money. It's just a great place to train, especially for someone that's moving up a weight class from lightweight to welterweight. And now Gilbert Burns, after a year or so, probably less than a year and a half, is already in the top 5 of the welterweight division, and he's just been on fire lately. And I'll go over a little bit of the fight in a little bit. I just want to talk about a couple other highlights that I had on the card. Jamal Hill making the second appearance in the UFC after a very successful appearance in Dana White's Contender Series. He was able to get his first knockout with the promotion in the UFC, and that knockout came in the first round. He utilized his knees. He's really good for using his knees, using it to hit the solar plexus, and it hit right on spot. It was money, and he was able to lay his opponent down. After knocking him down in the first couple of seconds of the first round, Jamal Hill's got some power, and he's an overall great mixed martial artist. I'd like to see him utilize some BJJ in the future if the opportunity presents itself. But he's a great guy in the UFC light heavyweight division, and he's definitely someone to look after. There's also Daniel Rodriguez versus Gabriel Green. That was a back and forth fight the whole entire time. Rodriguez is just throwing a bunch of bombs, and Gabriel Green he had a huge output of energy. The guy never got tired. He kept on walking Daniel Rodriguez down, putting him in the clinch, throwing a nice variety of leg kicks as well. And it was just an overall great fight, overall great performance by both men. Gabriel Green took the fight on 4 days' notice, and he's able to go the full 3 rounds with a killer like Daniel Rodriguez. It was an amazing fight to see. And also, the very first leg kick TKO in the UFC history went down. It was the very first fight of the prelims, and I think it was Chris Gutierrez who was able to get the leg kick TKO over I forget the other opponent's name, but sorry about that guys. But Chris Gutierrez was able to he was able to get that knockout victory by leg kicks, the very first in UFC history. Also, someone else making some history on that card was Mackenzie Dern, and she was able to get the very first knee bar submission finish in the history of the women's division overall in the UFC, which is great to see just because Mackenzie Dern's BJJ black belt. She's one of the best BJJ black belts for a woman in the world. So obviously, I wasn't surprised that she got a submission victory, but by knee bar, it's definitely one of those difficult submissions to pull off, especially during a UFC fight. But it was great to see her pull that off. Also, Casey Kenny was able to submit Luis Smolka via a one-arm guillotine choke. Now, obviously, one-arm guillotine chokes are very hard to come by. They're also very difficult to pull off, just because when you think about pulling off a guillotine victory, you think about using both of your hands. Put one hand underneath the chin, squeezing, and also using the other one just to hold on to the choke and trying to get that submission finish. But Casey Kenny was able to pull that off. He's back in the win column. It was great to see him use that type of win definitely to put himself back on that platform, get himself back in that winning column, and also kind of set himself up for a future fight against someone that's actually well known in the UFC bantamweight division. So that was great as well. And also the main event, Gilbert Burns knocks Tyron Woodley down just a couple of, I believe maybe like 30, 40 seconds into like the first round. He's able to knock him down, get on top of him. Definitely utilize a lot of his ground game. He was definitely trying to submit Tyron Woodley, but Tyron Woodley's not an easy guy to finish. He's not an easy guy to submit. But he was just blasting Tyron with some amazing shots, taking him down. And Tyron Woodley has the most successful takedown defense in the history of the welterweight division, so that obviously isn't easy to take down Tyron Woodley. But Gilbert Burns was able to do it 2 to 3 times in his fight, and it was just amazing to see. And Gilbert Burns looked big. He looked really big next to Tyron Woodley when the referee brought both men together to the touch gloves, and Gilbert Burns looked humongous next to Tyron Woodley, and Tyron Woodley was in shape, but Gilbert Burns was in better shape. He was in better condition. The guy was walking Tyron down the whole entire time, and I don't think I've ever seen Tyron really get dominated like that for a while. Even though he got dominated against Kamaru Usman, he wasn't dominated like that against Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns hit him with the right hand and opened up a nasty gash, and it's a good thing that Tyron had a really good cut man by his side, because that blood would have been a huge problem going forward in the fight since it went the full 5 rounds. But overall, Gilbert Burns, tremendous performance. I do think he needs one more fight before he can go fight for the title, but overall, he had an amazing performance, and I'd like to see him either fight Leon Edwards next or Colby Covington. If Burns wants to come back, especially for International Fight Week, that's going to be going on in about a month and a week from now, I believe, then he should definitely take on Leon Edwards. I believe Leon Edwards will definitely be ready before when International Fight Week gets here, and I believe Colby Covington wouldn't take that fight against Gilbert Burns because of all the dangerous, all the dangerous things that presents itself, especially with a competitor such as Gilbert Burns. Also, I believe that Colby Covington is really trying to change. He's really trying to go after that title shot rematch against Kamaru Usman, depending on if this fight really pans out between Kamaru and Jorge Masvidal, which would be an amazing fight to actually see. So there's a lot of things that is really panning out in the welterweight division right now because of this win by Gilbert Burns. I believe that the UFC welterweight division is the most stacked division in the whole entire promotion. I'm not kicking the lightweight division. I'm not throwing any punches at the lightweight division too, but the welterweight division is stacked top to bottom with killers, all the way from the first ranked guy all the way to the 15th ranked guy, and even people that are unranked, for crying out loud. That's how crazy this whole entire division is. But overall, UFC Fight Night Las Vegas yesterday was a success. It was amazing. It was great. Performances were awesome left and right. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Sorry about that mishap with my iPad actually fell down. I actually have it on top of one of my speakers just to raise it up a little bit, but I guess my speaker didn't really hold off and it rolled off, but it is what it is. I appreciate you guys for sticking through with me. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Stay safe. I know there's a lot of protests going around the country, but hope you guys are staying safe. And I hope you guys are staying well with this coronavirus, and we will get back to normal as soon as possible. So stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.